This is my family that was killed in Auschwitz, and I'm on the bottom though, but that was my mother and the 5 children that were killed. We were in Convoy 77. This is my mother in Algeria with her son who died there. This is my brother that wrote in the article about the nurse who saved my life. This was a town hall in, that's where my brother was put under the desk and when the Nazis came. And Mr. Carroll was our neighbor. He was the neighbor there. This is the French police and the Germans. This is Convoy, the truck 52, where my father was taken. My father's friend went to the restaurant and said, yeah, be careful because the Gestapos are coming. And he said, no, they're not gonna take me. I have too many children. Meanwhile, a few days later, he's walking home from work, being a waiter, and the Gestapos grab him, throw him into Convoy 52, and they take him to Camp Drancy. No windows, no doors. It's a circular building. Today, it's an apartment house. And then he went to Ghetto Lublin, and from Ghetto Lublin, then he was killed in Sobibor, Camp Sobibor. He was there. This is the train that, the cattle car, which they called, and it held about 100 people. They didn't feed people on the train. People traveled for 4 or 5 days, and they were never fed on the train. I have Hitler in here. And also, there was another horrible man. They called him Angel of Death, they called him. And he killed a lot of children, the Angel of Death. Mengele, Dr. Mengele, that was him. Killing the children and doing experiments on twins. He was noted for twins, Dr. Mengele, yeah. And this is Camp Frasiers, where we went, in Camp Frasiers, we stayed there for about a month and a half, and they fed us 3 times a day. But then we left after. So I went with my sister Fortune, my sister Jacqueline, there. Find it. This is my sister Fortune and Michelle, that her second husband. Oh, here's Jacqueline here, and her daughter-in-law, and me. This is the orphanage here, the orphanage, teat mode, and we were playing outside. Here is my papers when I entered the orphanage, the OSE. This is my adoption paper here when I came to the United States. In Les Destrues, where my family lived, as I said, it was a Catholic village, and the mayor, years later, put a Jewish plaque in the Catholic cemetery. We are the only Jewish people, and it has my mother's names and the children who died during the Holocaust. And I admire the mayor for doing that. When I was adopted, this is the Queen Elizabeth that I came on in '48. We left in January, and got there in February. This was my mother and father on the bottom here in America. This was the decorator here. Oh, and I do twinning. That's another thing. Should I show the poster? I do twinning. I'll explain. Yeah. Twinning the temples or the JCC gets a child who's 12 years old, bar mitzvah or bat mitzvah, and when they're 12, then it's called twinning with a Holocaust survivor. And what they do is they make a poster of the Holocaust survivor, they tell the story, they show pictures, and on Friday night they show this at the temple and on Saturday. And then Saturday they put you into their speech, and then you get a certificate twinning with a Holocaust survivor. This is the poster that one of the children did for twinning with a Holocaust survivor. It's a wonderful thing for the survivor and for the child. So I hope a lot more children do this. It's very important to not forget the Holocaust. This is the certificate you get when you do twinning with a Holocaust survivor. Oh, and I also spoke at Kushner, and it was called Names, Not Numbers. And what they do is they interview the Holocaust people, and then they make a movie. So every time they showed France, they would show me. If they showed Russia or another place, they would show the other Holocaust survivors. Oh, and in Livingston, they wrote an article about me, and this woman came in, came in third place writing my story for the Livingston paper. Anne Frank, that's she has her story.
Yeah.
Good?
Yeah.
That's my engagement. This is my 3 children there, and my father up above. Here's my family. My 3 children and their spouses. And here's all my grandchildren, 7 grandchildren. This is Eric, Brandon, and Zachary. And this is Rachel and Heather and I. My granddaughter Rachel wrote this. She is a grandma, or a mima they call me, that dresses fancy, works as a crossing guard, and is very social and enjoys life. She is a mima that is very busy, has friends, plays mahjong, goes to the movies once a week, and goes out to dinner all the time. She is a mima that makes time for her grandchildren, family, and her friends. She is always going somewhere or doing something. When she asked me to help her type a story of her life as a child, and among being a Holocaust survivor, I realized how lucky I am to be living the way I am, to have amazing parents, and now I look at my mima in a very special way. It said, she wrote that in 6th grade, Rachel. Yeah. And this is, this one is Cherie and Stephen and Jackie, my daughter-in-law. And this is Alan and I. And this is Chris and Donald. Oh, here we are celebrating my birthday, the grandchildren and children. This is Brian and his two brothers. They're twins, Zach and Brandon. This is my brother Jacques here. He was wonderful, wonderful man. Here's my brother and his wife Lillian. Here's my dad, Harry Wolfe. He was wonderful, and he was a printer. He had his own company in New York, my father. This is a quilt done, 16 Holocaust survivors made this quilt, and then it was shown in the Newark Museum, and we put it together, 16 of us. Mine is the second one here. What I did was I took a picture. He who saves one life saves the world. Once you know, you can never forget. Our stories must live on forever. 1.5 million Jewish children were murdered during the Holocaust. Only 11% survived. They hid with strangers in convents, orphanages, haylofts, woods, basements, and sewers. Many were left to fend for themselves, wandering in search of food, shelter. Few survived the concentration camp. We, the surviving children of the Holocaust, are the last living witnesses. We are the voice of 1.5 million who perished. This is a poem, a legacy of an adopted child that I read every time I speak. Once there were two women who never knew each other. One you do not remember, the other you called mother. Two different lives shaped to make you one. One became your guiding star, the other became your sun. The first one gave you life, the second taught you to live it. The first gave you a need for love, the second was there to give it. One gave you a nationality, the other gave you name. One gave you a talent, the other gave you aim. One gave you emotions, the other calmed your fears. One saw your first sweet smile, the other dried your tears. One sought for you a home that she could not provide. The other prayed for a child, and whose hope was not denied. And now you ask me through the tears, the age-old question unanswered through the years. Hereditary or environment? Which are you a product of? Neither, my darling, neither. Just two different kinds of love. That's it. Thank you.